I mean, as horrible as it sometimes... I remember a woman came up to me and she said, there's a guy on our block. Nobody liked him. He was just a mean old cuss, but I heard he was in the hospital and he didn't have any relatives, so I thought, I'll go visit him. So she goes into the hospital. She spends 3 hours and he just starts telling her about these horrible war experiences.
Oh my God.
She said, I didn't know what to do. He died an hour later.
Yeah.
Wow. So she's now stuck with his nightmare?
Yeah,
right? Wow.
He needed somebody to tell.
Jeffrey Ross.
You find that, I mean, my experience from visiting wounded guys is they'll often open up to a stranger. It seems to me that somebody wants to tell... A soldier wants to tell their story, not necessarily right away, not necessarily to their mother or their father, but they want a witness to their history.
I agree. You know, you understand completely why they shut up, because there's just no things to describe. We form really wonderful relationships in a job like this, in college, in sports. You know, intense relationships with siblings and with parents, but the bonds that you forge in basic training and then in combat are unlike anything else. I mean, the experience of war it's a paradox, because when your life is most threatened, you live life at its height. And then you see things and experience things no human being should have to experience. And then you come home and you actually can't tell mom, you can't tell pop, you can't tell your brother, you can't tell your best friend. You left your best friend's arm and body over there.
Yeah.
So you lock it away in the safest, deepest resources of your psyche. But then later on, you do have that impulse. Who can you tell? Who do you speak to? And quite often it's the stranger. I mean, we'd find these guys, we talked to more than 600 people to get the 40 for our film. Most of them couldn't talk about it. One guy he said, oh yeah, I can talk about it. First question, tears.
Wow.
He was gone. He was gone. And as you see, a lot of these guys, it's so fascinating, are on the edge of telling you incredible stuff, and you're mesmerized. I mean, I was screening the film early on, and a woman said to me, it's horrible, don't take out a single dead body. I thought that was really good, you know, that it was something you had to... one of my daughters, now 21, she was terrified of the vacuum cleaner when she was like 1 and 2. She would run from the room screaming. And one day, the vacuum cleaner's going, my wife has the vacuum cleaner, and she just walks in and sits down on the vacuum cleaner. And that's the way she abolished her fear. And every once in a while...
I still have the fear of vacuum cleaners. Maybe I should try that.
Oh, that really sucks.
No joke. It goes right through me. But Ken Burns in the studio. Band of Brothers, what did you think of that?
Loved it. In fact, I think that Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers did an amazing thing, which is it said, you know what? Let's just not kid ourselves. War is hell, as Sherman said in the Civil War. Let's just show what it's really like. So that opening sequence of Saving Private Ryan, or a lot of those combat sequences of Band of Brothers, did something that other films hadn't really done before, which is put it in your face. And
when they did the airborne drop in Band of Brothers, it was just, oh my God,
spectacular.
Who's jumping out of that?
So my only thing is, it's just terrific, and we worked with Tom Hanks, you know, who's the voice of Al McIntosh.
He's been great as far as
he has
World War II vets and getting the memorial going.
This thing going about World War II that is so impressive, and he does it really honorably. You know,
Can you believe he was in Bosom Buddies? Can you just really?
But now he's doing the Pacific War version of Band of Brothers, and interestingly enough, they're focusing on several of the people that we've already done.
Oh, really?
As live, and I just thought it was incumbent upon us documentary filmmakers. I mean, if you look at the History Channel, it's called the Hitler Channel.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
The big H in
they get distracted by those generals.
We thought we were the only ones that called it
the Hitler Channel. Every time you pass by it, it's like, there he is.
Yeah. You know, and you understand that there is this fascination about absolute pure evil, but there's a problem that happens. That fascination sometimes metastasizes into a kind of respect for the Germans' early military successes and their superior weaponry.
They wear snappy dressers.
And that's a slippery slope, you know? And what we thought was, let's go into the, you know, if you're a researcher doing a film, you don't have that much time on the History Channel to spend. You can't spend 5 years in the National Archives as we did.
Right.
You can only take the cream of the crop, which is good stuff. But we were able to find the ounce. We were able to find stuff that had been originally shot in color, but it had been made black and white to make a newsreel uniform. But all of a sudden, man, it's real. And so there's stuff that I don't know. I don't care who you are. in our film that you look away from. Because
that is amazing, the difference between the black and white film and the color film. How you're like, it makes it more real, it makes it more relatable.
Because we see everything in color now. Television, you don't watch black and white TV anymore.
Yeah, well, black and white is sort of an arty, sort of stylistic sort of thing that you do in mixed media, you know, an Oliver Stone, a music video. But we, for so long, that's how we got all our information about World War II, and that helped to keep it at arm's length.
Distance, definitely.
But all of a sudden, if that guy's coming at you and he's holding his face and it's gushing red blood,
Yep.
it isn't just some dark something on his face, red blood, then all of a sudden, that's only one little step and it could be me. And so this is what we try to do. Bottom up, intimate.
I got to ask you something about your Civil War documentary. When you had the idea, did people go, "Hey, crazy, there's no moving pictures from that era.
So
What are you, insane?"
That's exactly it. Well, I started with my dad. I remember I said, on Christmas Day in 1984, I said, my next film's going to be on the Civil War. He goes, "Oh, yeah, really, son? What part?" And I said, all of it. And he looked at me, walked out of the room like my idiot son. Yeah. But like I'd made 5 or 6 films that were 1 hour, hour and a half in length with still photographs and, you know, a couple Academy Award nominations and, you know, they were respected. But when I started proposing, it was originally going to be 5 1 hours. They said, nobody's going to watch this for 5 1 hours. And then when I came back halfway through, you know, and, okay, so it's going to be 11 and a half. They just thought I was nuts. And there was this one guy in public television, sort of a mentor, a guy named Ward Chamberlain, who, incidentally, when we'd go out to dinner, he'd get a couple drinks in him. He'd start talking about his time as an ambulance driver in Italy. So I put him in the film. He's in there in the film, talking about picking up dead bodies in Anzio or in the Monte Cassino campaign. Anyway, you know, he just went and fought the battles with me, and we got it out. But no, nobody thought that. The idea is that the word moving has lots of different meanings, right? So a photograph may not move, but you can move inside that photograph. And you can create emotional things in which there's apparent movement and there is emotion or movement of another.
You've heard about the Ken Burns effect?
Well,
that people,
Steve Jobs called me up, you know, about 5, 6 years ago, and he said, "Look, we've been perfecting this for a long time, and we called it the Ken Burns effect.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to go out on all these things."
It's amazing how you can take a photograph and look at the whole thing, and then as a narrative is going on, slowly actually pan across the photograph to one person there, and that's who you're talking about.
See, that tells a story.
It tells a story, and the narrative was amazing. The letters that were being read, amazing. And then I forgot his name, but he had recently passed away.
Shelby Foote.
Yes, just unbelievable.
So I made
the knowledge that this guy had.
I made a film on Huey Long, you know, in the mid '80s, and I had interviewed Robert Penn Warren, who'd great poet laureate of the country. He called me up when he heard I was doing the Civil War and told me, "You got to do Shelby Foote." Now, on the bookcase that I was assembling of, you know, all the Civil War literature, he had this 3-volume, 3,000-page yikes thing. And I said, "Okay, well, if Robert Penn Warren says," so we went and interviewed Shelby Foote first. And we didn't need anybody else.
He just, the voice, the whole speaking style he had, just amazing.
Hey,
amazing.
We definitely have to take a break. We have a little more time with you, Ken?
You got me.
Because the phones are late. We'll go to the phones next and continue with Ken Burns, who's The War, the book, the CD, the DVD is all in stores now, right? And you're doing some book signings?
Yeah, I am. We got some Wednesday night. I'll tell you the details. And Friday night, all in Manhattan.
Wednesday, it's at the Borders at the Time Warner Center in Columbus Circle at 7 o'clock, right here in Manhattan.
Friday at McNally and Robinson in Soho on Prince Street
at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's been really great to do this.
I bet.
People come up with hand trucks with 20 books and say, "Christmas shopping done."
Yeah. So we'll continue after the break. You just got to promise us that we're not going to have like a pop quiz at the end of this.
Oh,
no pop quiz, right?
Hand out
dittos.
Your worksheets.
Everybody remember the smell of dittos.
This is very interesting, but it's bringing me back to school. I'm like, oh no, we're going to be quizzed on this.
Oh no.
All right, Ken Burns.
It's not homework.
More with him and Jeffrey Ross next. It's Opie and Anthony.